Where does Dark Souls 3 rank in your favorite From Software game music? That's what I'm really intrigued by, because Dark Eater Midir, we've heard dragon themes throughout the FromSoft series, and this one I don't recall very well. In fact, I don't even think I ever got to Dark Eater Midir, and I'm very curious to hear what this sounds like. I have a picture in front of me of what Dark Eater Midir looks like, so that's influencing my sort of judgment of the music, but I'm always curious how you feel about Dark Eater Midir and what your perspective is on some of this Dark Souls music. Let's go. There's a regality here that's really apparent to me that's kind of interesting. There is in the beginning it sounds like a trumpet fanfare. And then as we continue on and we start, it sounds like a decrepit waltz. It sounds like a disturbed waltz of death, right? And I wonder why that is in terms of Midir's characterization, but even more so when we think of dragons, I think of, regal royal creatures that have like a code, right? Based on what my knowledge of dragons is, which is pretty limited. And I wonder why that sound quality is like this. And if Dark Eater Midir has some sort of loyal code with a character in Dark Souls, or like if there's a sort of correlation, I honestly don't know. That's also a very interesting melody. That to me is really like fascinating and actually pretty unique, because it feels like it's calling out. In some ways, I feel like that's the ethos and the pathos of Midir. That's sort of his psychology, the psychology of Midir, being one of, again, this waltz quality here, but it's like this very forward momentum with the strings. There is, again, a regality. I'm loving this timpani. Bum, 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 bum. Also, right before I stopped, there was a section where the cello was actually taking that melody that's in the vocal line and emphasizing it, which is really cool. And again, here we have this. Yeah, there's a flow of battle here that's very, very conscious. There's a consciousness here that we hear in this music that is giving us a sense of life and a sense of, obviously I understand grandiosity because it's a large beast, large creature, but there's a bit of elegance in there too. A lot of pain as well. I think that violin does such a great job of re-emphasizing the potency of that vocal line, because the vocal line itself, that itself is very both painful, sharp, and also powerful. Then when we have that string doubling it, it actually increases the sort of agony that we hear, because the way that the string is and where it's lying in the string's range, there's a bit of an edge, almost an edge to the sound quality, almost like the bow is like pressing into the strings, which I think creates this sort of like beautiful tension, and it's really pressing into that like that, and and so it gives us this feeling of just like a tightrope walk. Did you feel all that music swelled and grew and crescendoed, and it really became quite aurally violent? There was a real sense of that forward momentum increasing in volume, and it started, especially, it almost felt like the background and the supportive instruments underneath, the timpani and the orchestration underneath, started to lift and get louder and louder and louder and louder and louder, almost so that then they became the main voice of Dark Eater Midir, and this feeling of like a rageful flame of violence, right? A flame of fire, of a fireball, and that elevation in volume raises the stakes, so that then we're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being consumed, which is very interesting. So this is actually a sped up version of that original melody, but now what's interesting is the chorus is very staccato, it's very sharp, it's very short rhythms, very pointed and marcato, and that is, again, that now we're in this second phase. Whatever recording I'm listening to, cut that little space between the two phases. But so this is like brutality. This is violence. This is rage. This is destruction. This is very, very jagged and sharp, and where there's no legato really here. I think we're about to enter into a legato section, but the point of that is to really feel like we're being thrashed around, I think. That's sick in the trumpets there. That again, this rhythm of it's building, and it's giving us the sense of just unbelievable tension. While the strings underneath here are going absolutely insane. That is, I feel like this like tidal wave or this whirlwind of fire that we just feel are this like thrashing around, it's spinning around. All the while the chorus is singing in legato here, but again it's like stack, and it's just like it's a musical rage is what it is. Oh, that's funny. What's that? That augmented, and then we dip down into diminished. That's pretty curious. This sounds like like very volatile Beethoven. Yeah, there is a real significant feeling of desperation here. Of I just want to watch some really quick gameplay. Watching gameplay, this makes me feel like, who dare disturb my sleep? There's something, of course, that also Midir looks like at this point he's like half crystallized. He's probably been in that cave for thousands and thousands of years, some very, very old, and that's really interesting. There's really a sense that why are you disturbing me? You can't do this. Like, I'm not meant to be disturbed. Plus the crystallization on the wings gives me this feeling of very old and ancient being. Yeah, you really get the sense of rage here and a real sense of anger and frustration and it just violence, like I mentioned, oral violence. Musically, there's a real sense of violence there, and this is so cool. What's your perspective on Dark Eater Midir? Have you fought Dark Eater Midir? Where does Dark Eater Midir rank on your FromSoft boss list? Because I'm very curious. I don't think I ever did the Ring City, so I certainly have never gotten to Midir myself. Of course, more FromSoft music to come. It's definitely one of my favorite genres, and absolutely what I believe is to be the future of classical music, and actually current classical music in a lot of ways. If you like this sort of stuff, feel free to like, subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, there's links in the About section. If you want to check out more Dark Souls 3 on the channel, here is Slave Knight Gale. I had a really good time listening to that, and there's a lot more From Software to come, so thanks a ton, and I'll talk to you later.